Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to a brand new video. We've got ourselves a Land Rover Discovery 4. I don't really know how I've managed to get myself involved in this. Maybe I said something that I shouldn't have. Basically, my friend has bought this car with a seized engine in it, and I've ended up saying, yeah, no problem, we can sort that out. So I think what we're going to do with this one is the engine in it, we're not sure whether that's repairable or not. So what we are going to look at doing is getting another vehicle to sacrifice. So what I'll do is I'll take you over to the vehicle that we're going to sacrifice. You can take a look at that. When I get a chance to pull this one out, what we can do is we can have a look around this one as well. But what I'm going to start with first is taking the engine out of the other vehicle, stripping that down, giving that a good once over, making sure that we've got everything that we need. Then when we take the body off of this one, we take all the engine out, swap all of the bits over off of this one, give the engine a good service, do things like the cam belts, bits and pieces like that, the oil pump, and anything else that we think is worth doing while we're there. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, we can put it all back together, put the body back on this thing, and get one good running car at the end of it. But we shall see. And here we have, ladies and gentlemen, the sacrifice. So we've got ourselves an 09 plate Jag, which has got the same block and head in it, same engine, but there's a few differences. I think the sump's got to come off because on the Disco it's got some baffles in it, and the sump's slightly different to cater for the fact that it's a 4x4. And then also we've got a single turbo, I believe, on this one, and then the Disco 4's got a twin turbo. So yeah, I'll grab the keys for it, we can open it up, start it up and get it in the workshop. Let's see if this thing starts. Oh, there we go.
Check map, check compass.
Turn that off for a minute. So I'm just taking some evidence now for when it runs, and when we put it in the Land Rover, if it doesn't, we knew that it did. So I think what I'm going to do with this one, as I say, is get it in the workshop, probably take all the front end off, take all the headlights out, take all the list light out, and then just look at stripping it out and pulling it all out, hopefully with the gearbox as well, because what we'll probably do is look at selling the car on for disassembly, dismantling, because it's got quite a few nice bits on it that somebody will make some money on. So yeah, we'll probably do that and get rid of the gearbox at the same time. But if we take that out, it's one less job for the scrapyard or the dismantling people to do. So yeah, we're going to drain down all the fluids and then work on taking that out. So as I say, we'll get it in the workshop, make a start. So we've just gone ahead making a start on taking some of the engine bits out that we need to get access to various bits in order to disassemble it. So what we've done is just pulled this bit of the scuttle pan out, or scuttle panel should I say, and that just allows us access to the main engine wiring loom. So we've just unclipped that. We've taken the airbox out of the way so we can have a good look down there. We've also started draining off the fluids. So we've taken the under trays off underneath. That's given us access to drain the coolant. So we've taken the coolant bottle out the top here, taken this panel out. I'm going to pull all the rad packs out, pull all of the front end off. We've drained the oil as well. We found one of the aircon points. We also need to have a look for the other one so we can degas the car. I did mention a moment ago or earlier that this is a single turbo, or I thought it was. This is actually a twin turbo in this one. So it's a 3-litre twin turbo. So it should just be the same as the Disco. Obviously we are going to have to swap a fair few bits over. So we managed to locate the other aircon pipe, or the aircon connector. For some reason they thought it was a good idea to put it in the wheel arch. Right, so now that we've done a fair bit on the top side, we can have a look underneath at what we've got to try and take off to get the rest of this lot out.
I didn't realise these are a twin tool cell.
Yeah, I thought this was a single turbo, but it's not. It is twin turbo, this one.
So what about the Land Rover?
The Land Rover's twin as well.
It is?
Yeah. The 3 wasn't, and I think the Disco 4 was.
Right.
Because I think the 3 is a 2.7.
And obviously the other's 3 litre.
And then these go up to a 3 litre. Might just wait till that crosswindows off. Yeah. Take all the heat shields off the back here. Oh, lovely. I must say, everything under here is immaculate.
Is the exhaust joint split again there as well?
I think so, yeah. So we just take that bit off there. Oh, bit of snap bolt. Yes. It wouldn't be part of the Jaguar Land Rover group if we didn't. I'm going to have to pull this off as well because these are all...
Oh, the ones they spin.
They just spin and spin and spin. And I mean, if it wasn't going for scrap, then it would be a bit different. But the fact it's its last rodeo...
I think a DPF wire inside of things would pretty much different.
Yeah. It might even be less hassle to just take the entire exhaust off because with them being the way they are, it's just...
all the mounts are all just done bolt and stuff.
Yeah, or they're just rubber mounts that just come out, so...
They all have bolt as well.
Yeah.
Pop them straight off. The rear one back side off.
Lovely. Right, we should carry on. Oh, catch! I think so. There we go. There's the exhaust.
That was not meant to happen.
Right.
We should be able to slide these back boxes out.
That's it. That's one.
Go.
There we go. Over that way. So back a bit to you. Oh yeah, you go around that way.
That was not meant to happen like that.
Right.
Well, at least add flexi in it, so it just drops.
Yeah, no, you did well there. Right.
One man band, it's all removable.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. We just pull that down. That's just one of the heat shields, yeah. Go up in the centre if you can. I don't think it's gonna go back as you were. It's just getting caught on that. It's got like a little,
Very, very big bar.
oh, what about old Bertha?
Bertha.
Oh, that one, I thought you were getting out the one for the arms.
Bernie.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Oh, Bernie the bar. Jesus. You'd be able to use that one from next door, mate.
Bernie makes good work for that.
I'm saying that. That's that bit.
Yeah, we could just bolt that piece back up.
Yeah, we can do, can't we? I think to save the time, we just bolt it back up.
Less thing to worry about. So.
Right. This one ain't. Ready? Look. The amount of like carbon and soot in there, look. Lovely.
That one, completely clean.
Yeah, I think we got a turbo issue on the offside. We've got a visitor. Right, so we're just dropping the car down now. We've done quite a bit underneath, as you may have seen. Tyler nearly got killed by an exhaust piece. So we've got most of the bits off now from the underside, so we're just putting some tyres down on the floor there, and then what we're going to look at doing is undoing all the subframe bolts, undoing the top suspension bolts, and then hopefully dropping that all out in one go. Fingers crossed.
If all goes well.
If all goes well, we shall see.
Oh no.
What's it spinning?
Spun captive.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, the only thing is the captive is it's through bolted. It must come up through there somewhere.
Yeah, I bet it comes up into that strut tower there, look.
Oh yeah, it does, I think.
Perfect. Oh, it's there, it's there, I can feel it.
Is it?
Behind that strut there. Okay. So we might be able to get a set of mole grips or something on it.
So I'll do the strut first, and what give that a bit more. What we're planning on doing with Bernie here?
Well, we'll get Bernie on the case. Just see if we can lever that a bit. Just enough to sort of get the threads past, and then we can move that out a bit. Is that going to come out? What about if...
I was just thinking the same sort of
go through there. I mean, that's it. Oh, and up. That'd give us a bit more room, wouldn't it?
What's the plan with that other one?
So I reckon if we've got those undone, haven't we, there? So we just drop it onto these tyres. Right, stop there, mate. And then I think we'll try and clamp this one up and see if we can undo it somehow.
The tyre that's in the way, not the...
That's better. Try that. That's it. You're out. You are out, sir. That's it. That's that one. We will need these for putting it back, won't we, when we're ready? That's it. Ah, there we go. I can see the heater matrix pipes now. Perfect. Because I couldn't see them earlier.
I'm just going to tack up on that.
Yeah.
There we go. Is that bolt definitely through?
Yeah, it is tight, but it'll come out.
Yeah. This one, I think. what's going on. Right.
I suppose if I watch from this side, you keep an eye on that side. You're the man that can.
Okay, just
If you stand over that way, you stand over that way a bit, Tyler, just so they can see. Right. Oh! Hang on, let me grab that bolt, just so it's out of the way. Okay. Yeah, just like Tyler was saying, just flick it bit by bit.
Is that going to get caught, is it?
I don't think so. I'm just keeping an eye on things for the minute. I now need to, give me 2 seconds, I'm now going to release my brake caliper. Right, go for one more. Right, we are on the move. We are on the move.
I am fully disconnected this side.
There we go. Just makes it easier, doesn't it? There we go. Right, I think that's for the bin anyway, isn't it, that one? We'll keep that in the keep safe.
The aircon's all leaked out the bottom, that bottom corner.
Yeah, that's probably what's happened, isn't it? It's failed. Right. Yes, mate, carry on. Keep going. I'm all right my side.
I'm looking like fine one side.
Yeah? Yeah, go on then, mate.
I think just down to the top, Hayden. I think.
Keep going, mate. There we go. As Tyler was just saying, it doesn't look as if we are the first people here. Looks like we've probably had a second-hand box in this one, but we're not going to be using that anyway. So we're going to go ahead, take the gearbox off, take the engine mounts off and anything else that we don't need. And then that way we'll be able to pull the engine off and put the subframe back in the car so we can roll the car out the way.
Oh, is it this piece here? Yes. Yeah.
That there, so obviously that's all buried by this lot. That's your pump belt at the back there.
Oh, of course.
Then you got your diesel pump hidden, tucked in there. You got your vacuum pump there. So you've got a chain that then runs the cams.
Yeah.
So you've got a belt with 2 cam pulleys on, and then the chains run cam to cam.
Right.
And then you got one on the back there for the pump. Yeah.
Is that chain up? That's belt as well there. Yeah.
So you got a belt there and a belt at the front,
Yeah.
and then the oil pump and everything's at the front as well. I imagine this gearbox was a few quid.
Yeah, I can't imagine it was really.
It was running in the Land Rover, yeah. Well, which is almost unheard of.
We've got an issue here.
What's that, mate?
Can't get to the chains. No. Oh, that car seat smells so sexy. As soon as it lifts, it pull it towards us. Or it'll pull the crane to it.
Yeah.
Did you manage to undo that nut?
Yeah.
The engine should fall off the subframe.
Yeah. Like that.
Porsche's out.
Right. Do we want a couple of tyres again just to rest this? Yes, I'm gonna. Sounds like me.
Should have had it further in for the
Yes.
kilograms.
So as you can see, we've now got the engine and gearbox out of the Jag, so it's time to say goodbye to this one. We're going to load this up on the truck in the morning and then get rid of this. And then what we can look at doing is getting the engine out of the Discovery, and then also we need to strip down that engine, give that a good check over and get everything sorted so that when we go to put it back in the Disco, everything's all done and ready to go. So I've now just popped the front wheels off, and that's just going to allow me to move all of these dirt shields out, or the wheel arch liners. So there's just loads and loads of plastic clips all in here, a couple of screws down each end. So we're going to look at taking those out. That will allow me to gain access to the sort of back of the front bumper, take these wheel arch extenders out as well. And then I can pop the front bumper off, and then that will allow me to get to the final 2 bolts that hold that plastic sort of upper cross member or upper sort of headlight assembly on there that you saw us taking apart, or starting to a moment ago. So we carry on, get these out, and then we can turn our attention to getting that front bumper off and a bit more on the front end. We've also started unplugging, as you could see, some of the wiring loom and just working our way through getting some of those bits and pieces off the car. So things are coming along really nicely now. We've managed to get all the pipe work for the diesel heater here. We've got all of the coolant bottle out the way. We've unplugged a load of the wiring down here. We've also gone ahead and split the battery box just in half here. There's a section where this all splits apart, so we've gone ahead and done that. We've managed to degas and remove all of the aircon. We've just got loads of wires and bits and pieces that we've just disconnected all these bits for. So we've got things like some of the EGR wiring here, some more of the wiring up here that we've gone through. We've also disconnected another wiring plug down here and the wiring for the transfer case as well. We've got the heater matrix pipe work, which we've disconnected, and that's just down in the wheel arch out the way here now. We've also gone ahead, disconnected some of the chassis grounds. So we've got some of those bits and pieces out the way. We've started to disconnect the brake pipes and also the ABS sensors, and then the pad wear sensor on the other side. So we need to go to the back of the car and do the same at the back there. We also need to take the fuel pipe out as well. So the diesel filler neck. We're going to probably pop the back bumper off as well, so we can get to a couple of plugs there. And then we've also got to go under, take the spare wheel out, because there's a couple of plugs up there, so we'll get that all sorted as well. And then we just sort of, we've drained all the coolant out as well. So we just laid some old rags down here just to try and clear things up so it's not all oily and full of antifreeze and coolant on the floor, and then we're walking it all around the workshop. So we're trying to sort of be as clean as we can. We also took the washer bottle out, which was all tucked in behind the cross member here. So that's all out the way. So that's what you've got some of the wiring for there. And we've also started disconnecting, as you can probably just make out here, the green and black tubing there. So for the air suspension, we've disconnected that as well and let that all out. And then on the underside, we've just started to disconnect some of the bits and pieces. So just up underneath or up above the prop shaft there, you've got one of the emergency handbrake cables. So that releases the handbrake module if you have a handbrake failure and it locks on. We've also gone ahead, taken some of the automatic gear cable off. So that's off and out the way. We've got the steering UJ, which I might be able to make out, which is just tucked up above the drive shaft there. So we've taken that off, disconnected that, just pop the bolt back in there. And then, yeah, we're just working our way around the car. As I say, just making sure that we haven't left anything connected. So we're going to work our way towards the back now. So then we just pop out all of these wheel arch covers. We can disconnect the brake pipes on the back here. Move that black cover out the way here, and then we can get to some of those cables. As I mentioned a moment ago, we're going to pop the spare wheel out because there's some cabling just tucked up in between there that we need to get to, and then there's some more, I believe, just tucked up behind the bumper, just up here. And now I think basically we've got everything that we need to get disconnected. So what I've gone ahead and done is just put the wheels back onto the car, and then that's going to allow me to lower the car back down. I can then move all of the ramp arms to support the body rather than to be on the bottom of the chassis there. And then what I'm going to look to do is undo, I think there's either 8 or 10 chassis bolts that bolt the body to the chassis. So I can then look at doing those, and then slowly but surely we're going to lift the body off of the chassis of the car and just make sure bit by bit, as we did with the Jaguar, that we're not catching anything, that we're not going to damage anything. There may be 1 or 2 things that we've left plugged in that we shouldn't have, but I think we're pretty much there. So hopefully we're good to go. Right, so we should be all good. So we've got Caden, the main man on the controls. We're just going to start undoing the body bolts. So we're just going to work our way through, and then fingers crossed, we should be able to lift it off. Helps if we put the battery in, doesn't it? Yeah. So we've got one. That one is tight. God.
Oh, that front one got done.
Right. $15, please, mate.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Yes, mate, perfect, thank you. No, he's got one more over there. So, how many have we got in total? There's 4 there. And then we've got...
5, 6.
There's, I think, one under there.
5, 6, 7.
And then there'll be 8 down here, I think. This will be the 8th. We've done the one over there.
How many is there now?
I think there might be one more down here. Yeah, one more down here. Oh. Yeah. Right, see if we're still recording. Right, gents, you want to go up a little bit? Bit more? How are we looking at the back, Sean? Yeah? And we look all right on the jack points?
No, that's disconnected, but there's this.
Yeah, this one. It's not connected, is it?
I think that carbon canister, maybe.
Yeah, that one.
Is that connected or not?
That one.
You want to captain the front, mate?
Tap, tap.
Yeah. Keep going. Keep going. Right. Yeah. Hang on a minute. I just need to cut a wire out of here, I think. Yeah, something like that, isn't it? Yeah. Right. Yes, please, mate. Yeah. I think you'll be all right to go, mate. Right, stop. That's it. Alright, stop there, mate.
That is cool.
Hey,
Done.
bit of ice blasting now.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. You can see the beauty of the car.
All that to fit an M10 nut back on the chassis.
Yeah.
Right, I suppose we better have a clear up then. So guys, as you can see, it's now the following morning. We did have a bit of a clear up last night, just a bit of a sweep up. We've put a load of the stuff that we've taken off the body just at the back of the car here, just to put that out of the way. We've pulled the engine from the Jaguar over, so we are going to look at some point at stripping that stuff down. We also need to strip all of the stuff down on this one, get all the bits and pieces off of this so we can swap everything over. But yeah, I just sort of give you a quick update of where we've got to. So you've got the body there, and as you can see, with all of this now accessible, it does make life a lot easier to get to some of these bits. So we just head round here. And what we are going to do as well is we are going to look to do the front to rear brake pipes, which run all up along here and all down the near side there, because we just want to make sure that these are all done. It just makes sense while the body's off. These are getting quite corroded anyway, so we want to do that and just get that sorted. And then we've just laid all the bits out neatly here. We've just got all the bolts and bits and pieces with those, so they're all ready to go back on when the time comes. So yeah, as I say, what we're going to look at doing in the next episode is we're just going to start stripping all this engine down and sorting this one out. So we've now come to a point with the engine on the Jag. We've stripped it all down as best we can for the minute. We're waiting on a few parts for this, so I'm going to park this for the moment and leave that, and then I'm going to turn my attention to starting to disassemble the bits off the body and that engine while we wait for the bits for this to turn up. So what I'm going to look at doing first is just disassembling all the bits off of the front here, just so that I can pull all of this rad pack out in one go, and then hopefully that'll give me quite good access to the front of the engine here, and then we can sort of take it from there, see what sort of access we've got, and then we'll probably look at taking some bits off the transmission and so on, and then we can look at what we're going to do next. So yeah, we'll get started with getting these bits out. So we've now managed to move all the rad pack assembly out of the way, and we're just taking some more of the hoses out of the way. So what I'm going to do now is just pop to the back of the engine, start taking things off like the exhaust. So we've now undone loads and loads more bits on the car. We've managed to get the crossover pipe out of the way, get the downpipes undone, start taking some of the bell housing bolts out. We've also gone ahead and disconnected the rear prop shaft and also the prop shaft that goes to the front diff and the transfer box. So we've managed to sort that out. I have gone ahead and just put this strap on here and also the chain up here. So the plan is that I can sort of lift it out level where possible. We've also gone ahead and disconnected a load of the gearbox pipes along here, so things like the fuel pipes, that run along the gearbox. So we've done that, some sensors down here, and then some exhaust and DPF sensors and so on, the pressure pipes and stuff like that. We've disconnected all of that. And then just at the front, at the bottom there, we've gone ahead and just disconnected some of those little coolers on the bottom. So what I'm going to do now is just see if I can gently lift it up. I've also disconnected the 2 nuts for the engine mounts either side, and then just the bottom mount for the transmission here. So I'm just gently going to work my way up and just see if I can start to lift this out. So now that we've got all the engine and transmission out, I've just popped it on a couple of used tyres just to stop any damage on the underside. I've still got most of the tension on with the crane, and I'm just going to do very similar to what we've done with the Jag engine, which is just to start stripping this thing down. so I've now just rested the engine on an oil drum, well, the transmission, just so that I can now access the sump, because I need to take the sump off, because that's got to be swapped over as well. And I also need to probably try and loosen the crank or take the crank out somehow to undo the torque converter. So guys, we have confirmed the death of the Land Rover. Don't know if you can quite make it out there, but just up in there, that webbing on the crank has snapped. And I did find a chunk of metal, which I'm not sure what I've done with now. So yeah, it was good to see that we were right on the diagnosis. So we can now get to 2 of the torque converter bolts. Then I've just got the fun and excitement of trying to get to the other 2. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do next. Get to those 2 bolts up there, undo those, undo the other 2, then hopefully I can pull the box off. Right, so I've now swapped the engines over on the engine crane, so I've now got the Jaguar engine, and what I'm going to start by doing is just mounting it back to the transmission. There may be a few bits that we have to take back off, put back on, but I've got so many bits everywhere at the minute, I'm just trying to get to a point where I'm starting to put stuff back on, so it actually feels like I'm achieving something. So yeah, I'm going to start by jacking that up and popping that on here. So I've just dropped the engine back down onto some tyres, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer all of these vacuum lines over. They may well be the same between the two, but I just want to swap these over so that I don't put it in the car and then find that I'm missing a vacuum line somewhere or along the lines. So I've also got the engine wiring loom over here, so I'm going to start plugging all of that lot in, because I'm mindful the more and more components that I put on in a minute, I'm going to be taking stuff back off because I can't get the loom in there. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do next, try and get all of that stuff in there. Once I've done all of that and those bits, I'm going to start having a real good clear up and a sort out, and then that will just allow me to sort of get to the next stage. So we've just laid a load of the engine parts and ancillaries just neatly down here with the bolts for them. We also went ahead and took all the baffle plate out of the sump. We've given that a good clean, and we've just got the bolts that mount that onto here. So yeah, we're just trying to make it as clean and tidy as possible, despite our water or oil on the floor there. I did just grab a load of the tools and just pop those all back in place so they're half sensible. And then what we have also done is Tyler's really kindly just replaced the front to rear brake pipes for me on this, because we just wanted to make sure they were done as well, because they were starting to get rather crispy. So, and then we've just got some more bits just sort of laid down here neatly. We got some of the bits at the back there that we've just laid out. So the brake pipes again coming all the way up round to here, and then the same the other side, so they're all done. So yeah, we can just continue working on the engine. So we've now got the sump off, and I'm not quite sure if you can make it out on the video, but you've got this piece here, which is, I don't know, for lack of better description, I guess, like an extension piece to the sump. And that's obviously just what's allowing us to use, well, it allows it to go into the Jaguar with the smaller sump set up here. Whereas, as you saw earlier on the Land Rover engine, we've got the much bigger sump with the baffles. So I'm just going to continue to take this oil pickup pipe out the way and then just pop this section of the sump off. So I've locked all the timing up at the front on the cams, and what I went ahead now and done is just replace the fuel pump belt. So you've just got the one tensioner here and the bolt. So we just pop the old belt off and the old tensioner, put the new belt on, torque this bolt up, and then, well, we pull the pin out first, let the belt tension, and then torque that bolt up. So I've locked all of the timing in place now, so we've got a locking tool for the bottom of the flywheel or the starter motor ring gear, and then I've just locked up the two cams. And what I'm going to be doing is I've just undone the bottom pulley bolt, or should I say the bottom crank bolt here, and then I'm going to be taking all of this assembly off, because this is the oil pump and we're looking to replace that. I have a habit of breaking off here. I mean, this one doesn't look particularly old at all, but whether that's just the fact that where it's had covers over it for most of its life, it's maintained or managed to stay quite clean, I'm not too sure. But yeah, we're just going to undo all of these little 8mm bolts that hold it on. I did leave the ones out from the sump earlier because I just didn't want to put any pressure on this gasket just yet. I've just been really nice and gentle with that gun there. They're only little 8mm bolts, so you don't need to go mad. And then there's just some tiny little bits here that you can just gently lever on. I've missed 1 or 2 bolts. You just gently lever on to pull that away. I'm just going to do that nice and evenly. We just come over, do the same the other side. Just make sure that we don't drop that as well. Pop this gasket off out of the way. So I've just cleaned up all the surfaces there, and I've just put a little blob of sealant in each of the corners there, and that's exactly the same as it was when I took it apart. So I just need to get this centerpiece lined up so that this will just sit back on and in place. So I've just been working my way with this oil pump, just slowly getting that on there, and then just making sure that the drive is aligned with the crankshaft here, so I was able to push that on. I was just giving it some pressure over here and then just gently tapping it with a rubber mallet, just so that it would go on nice and even, and just making sure that we weren't catching or damaging the gasket at the bottom here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead, pop all the bolts in, wind it in nice and gently by hand, get these ones in, and then I can get that all torqued up. I can then look at putting the main crankshaft seal in, or the front seal in there, and then we can pop that bottom crankshaft pulley back on. It's really starting to come together now, so we've got all of the crossover exhaust pipe bolted up. We've also bolted the brackets up for this, so that that's all in place now. I do have these gearbox sort of breather lines that I need to just mount those in. I'm having a bit of difficulty just remembering which sort of area they went in. So I've got a rough idea. I just want to try and get them right if possible. And then if I bring you around to the front. So at the front here, we've been making fantastic progress. We've been and fitted the oil pump, as you've just seen, and we've now got all the timing belt on and got that all in time. So we've rotated that twice just to make sure that everything lines back up. So on these particular ones, you've got the crankshaft, which locks up on the flywheel, as I mentioned earlier, and then you've got 2 pins up here and here. And then what you do is you basically what's called pin it all up. So you time it all up, lock it all in place, undo these 3 here, and the same on this side. Obviously you replace all of the rollers as well, and it comes with a new tensioner in the belt kit. And then you push these as far as you can to the right hand side. And then what you do is you use the belt up and around here, and then you pull the tension across over to, or should I say the slack, sorry, over to where the tensioner is. Then you tension it up in place, and then hopefully if you've got it right, your marks are roughly where you want them. I've just done those marks as a duplicate, as well as using the pins, just so I can see where I'm at. And then you tighten all of these down just loosely for the moment. As I say, turn it all over, make sure everything's in time by putting your pins back in, and then torque all of these down afterwards. There is also a tiny little cutout on the tensioner, so there's an arrow in which way you turn it, which is anti-clockwise, and then there's a tiny little cutout that's just got to line up with the tensioner before you tighten it up. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is just make sure everything's clean, just double check my work quickly, and then I'm going to move on to just popping the cam belt cover back onto here. We've now managed to get a load of the pipe work on here, so things like all of the turbo hoses, the hoses off to the intercooler. Buried down under here is the aircon pump, so we've also managed to get that on. And then we've got the aircon lines here and here. We are also attaching the gearbox cooler pipes as well, so we've just mounted those back in place there. And then I'll take you around to the other side so you can see what we've been up to on that side. And then on this side it's also a similar scenario. We've got the turbo pipe down here, we've got one of the boost pipes here, put the alternator on, managed to get that in place. We've put the main wire coming down from the battery as well to the alternator, and then the starter motor, which is tucked up under here, so we fitted that. We've also fitted the cabling for that, plugged in the oil level sensor and just a load of other bits and pieces. So I've now got the cover on, and what I'm going to start by doing is just putting some of the ancillary bits on. So we've got the water pump pulley, we've got the cooling fan pulley, bottom pulley, tensioner, and then there's this idler here. And there's a little locator on there which just tucks into there. So you really must make sure that you get this lined up. There is also a little mark on the cover, which then just allows you to line that up nicely with that. But I have found if you don't get these lined up, that you can actually end up pulling the auxiliary belt will actually walk itself off the pulley. So it's now about 12:30 in the evening, or the next day, and yeah, what I'm going to try and do now is I just want to get the engine in and rested on the mounts and get the mounts done up, so that then I can have a real good clear up. I may carry on, or if not, I can pop back in the morning and sort of pick up where I've left off. But yeah, I just want to get that all sorted. So I've just given the engine a once over, just had a real quick look round, had a look at some of the bits that I've got left. We seem to be doing okay. Because once you get this in there, it's a bit sort of awkward to get to some of the bits. So yeah, I just want to crack on and get this in, and then hopefully we can look at, getting to the next stage, which will be getting the body back on the chassis. Not far at all. One side. Here we go, we are in. So it's now the following morning. It got quite late last night, so I didn't end up filming the last bit of the video. So I just wanted to sort of give you a brief as to where we got to. So we managed to get the engine back in on the chassis. We've had a good clear up around the workshop and a bit of a sort out, put some tools away and what we needed to do so we can just sort of start again, really. So slowly but surely we are reducing the number of parts that we've got. These are the remaining engine bits and stuff that we've got from the front of the car, and then we've got a whole host of bits just tucked back behind the body of the car. So if I just take you round to here, we've got things like we need to connect this down pipe and the same the other side, all of the sensors. We've got some fuel lines that run along here down to the fuel filter. There's also a tiny little fuel pump for the fuel additional heater or auxiliary heater. We want to put back in the prop shaft here, the same the other side. The DPF pressure pipes just need clipping back up and making good. So just tidying those up. And then we've got our wiring looms that run up from the transmission and the back of the engine up here. So we've just got those rested on there. And then on the front, obviously we've got things like the rad pack that we need to put back in. We've got the cooling fan, power steering lines and stuff just need to be tucked back up, out the way. So I've now managed to just pop the rad pack onto its mounting points. I haven't done anything up yet because I just want to give this plenty of room so that I can get my hands down underneath and start plugging all those bottom hoses in and all the cooling hoses, because there's quite a few hoses. There's also some boost pipes and bits and pieces. So that's just going to give me a bit more movement to get all of those done up. So I'll crack on with that now. And then, then hopefully we should be able to also slide the viscous fan or the cooling fan in and then do all of that up as well. So we've now got most of the front end built up. We've managed to get all of the shrouds in, all of the rad pack. The cooling fan or viscous fan is now in place and this is all done up. We've still got a couple of little bits and pieces left to do on the front here, but what I'm going to turn my attention to now is working my way towards the back of the car. So we're going to go up by the gearbox and do a few bits up that end. I'm just in the process of swapping all of the body bolts out because I want to replace these. So as you can see, just you've got like a rubber section here, which just obviously slides off the bolt, and then you've got a little piece of foam that they put on there. So when you're putting these bolts up and in, they just don't tend to drop back out. Well, I say that, and then they do. So what I've done is I've just got some rubber O-rings and I've just put them on the same like that, just so that it will stop the, so just when I'm trying to pop them in place like here, it's just going to stop them from falling out, which hopefully will save me from crawling around too much more than I need to. So yeah, I'm just going to have a final once over, make sure everything's okay, and then we're going to start to look at dropping the body down onto the chassis. Just going to really take my time with this, be nice and gentle. The last thing I want to do is just go with it guns blazing and then find that I end up damaging something. So you just keep checking as you're going. Looking nice and clear so far, which is brilliant. Just going to pop around the back and make sure everything looks to be present and correct here. I mean, we really are really close at the back here now. Just check that the fuel pipe's not fouling on anything. So we're almost there, we're getting this thing lined up. A moment ago the battery did go flat on the camera, so hopefully I caught all of the process of me lowering it down, but I'm just making sure as I go bit by bit that I'm not catching anything. We have touched down on the rear of the vehicle, so what I'm going to look to do is get a couple of those body mounting bolts just roughly in place, so just loosely in where they go, so then hopefully that will help me move the front around and sort of steer it into where it needs to go. From here we're about probably, I don't know, 6 to 8 inches. So as I just mentioned, I'm just coming up to the back of the car here and I'm just going to have a look to see if I can start to get these bolts started. They are buried up behind the exhaust, which ain't particularly helpful. I'll tell you what, that has just gone straight in. I couldn't have written that. That's not to say that the others will, because it may be that it's all twisted, but we'll try and see how we get on. Where on earth is that one? Right, that one's in as well. So we're just going to come a bit further down with the ramp now that we know that we're okay on the back there. Just again, continuing to make sure that we don't break or damage anything. That looks to be okay. Let's poke my head down here. Yeah, I can't see anything. Oh, I'll tell you what we will do. We'll get that steering joint in place now, hopefully. Oh, there we go. I think I've either just pulled the, yeah, I have. I've either just pulled that plastic boot off, or we are starting to make some progress. Like so. All of that lot's looking all right. That can go over there. We're on. So I'm just, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and fit all of these. I'm then just going to wind them in by hand, and then what I'll do is take the ramp out the way, jack the vehicle up a little bit, and then with that what I can do is then put the ramp back on the chassis, put the whole lot in the air, and then we can torque all of these up to spec. So we're pretty much where we need to be with regards to the underside and the back of the vehicle. There's a couple more connections right at the back, things like the tow bar. There's a multi-plug behind the near side rear wheel as well, which we need to get to. But I've got to take all the wheels back off to put all of the wheel linings in and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to come back down to sort of chest height, and then I'm going to look at working on the near side here, because there's quite a lot of stuff going on here, as you can see. Things like the washer pumps and all that sort of stuff, and I just don't want to go too far forward if I'm going to have to go back to potentially reroute some stuff, because sometimes you can get the odd thing that gets caught up. So yeah, hopefully we're okay this end, so we're going to have a look that end. Then we'll come over to this side as well, because we've got quite a lot of coolant pipes, the chassis earths and all bits and pieces like that, and then we can look to start putting the sort of headlight assembly bit on the top there and do some bits around that section as well. So we're just going to spend a bit of time working along in the wheel arch here. Okay, so we've been making really good progress. We've managed to get all of the lines just tucked up neatly up here. The wiring along here we've managed to get all sorted, and then I have gone ahead and just popped all the washer bottle back in. These two lines here are for the front bumper for the headlight washers. Also got a chassis earth up there, and then we went ahead, you can just make it out, we've done all the brake pipe up, and then the ABS sensor and the brake pad wear indicator. And then it's just a case of just pretty similar, just a repeat in each wheel arch. So again, we've done the brake pipe up, the ABS sensor, there's a chassis earth just up there, and then some other bits and pieces. So now what I'm going to turn my attention to is just starting to top up the fluids. So I'm going to top up the power steering, the coolant. I'm going to whip the oil filter out, change that, put the oil in there that I need to. We do still need to go ahead and bleed the brakes because we've changed the front to rear brake pipes, but also we've disconnected the brake lines anyway. And if we try and start it or attempt to, we've got no brake pedal pressure. It won't actually allow us to crank the engine. Okay guys, so I've been in the car, we've plugged all the modules in just over here for the minute. What I am going to need to do is potentially see if I can raise the air suspension with the wheels on in a moment, just because I've got a rubber bung for the steering knuckle that I want to try and push back in, and I think where it's so low it won't go in quite right at the moment. I've just put the battery on as well. So as I say, we've plugged all the modules in, popped the battery on, we've got a charger on there to give us a hand as well, and I've just been in the car, checked, we've got ignition lights, and also I just checked the oil level. So what I have gone ahead and done is I've just popped out these two relays here. One of them's the fuel pump and the other one's the heated screen. I wasn't sure which way round they are. So what I've done is I've just popped the pair out. Because what I don't want to do is bring any fuel up to the engine at the moment. What I want to do is create a nice bit of oil pressure there first, make sure the oil light goes out, make sure I'm getting oil where it needs to be, and then I can plug the fuel pump relay back in, and then we can see if it will start. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to jump in the car, pop these bits off. I'm just going to jump in the car and see if it will turn over. So I've now got my foot on the brake. I think the starter motor might be dead. So I'm not quite sure if you could make out a moment ago when we tried to crank the car over, we were just getting a click. So I've been looking at the power supply, so the main battery power supply down to the starter motor, and I can't seem to get the 12 volts that I'm looking for. So it may well be when it's seized up, or the crank's broken, somebody's tried to then turn the vehicle over using the starter button, and all it's done is just pop the main fuse which sits in this battery terminal here. So I have taken the fuse out, which is a 400 amp fuse, and I can actually move this fuse back and forth inside as if it's broken. Unfortunately, the only one I've got is just a 250. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that in. That should be enough just to see if it'll crank over. So we're going to pop that in, see if that makes any difference. So we're now going to go for attempt number 2 and see if this does anything. Oh, it starts and, well, it started and went to run then. Want to try and get some oil pressure if possible. There we go, that's much better. Right, I'm going to leave that for a little while now because that should have pumped enough oil around. So I'm just going to leave that to do its thing and then we can go for a proper run. So I've now rechecked the oil level after letting it settle for a bit. We also know how much oil we've put in there as well, so we know that we've got the right amount of oil because we've checked that on the auto data just to make sure that we're okay with that. So what we're going to do now is I've plugged the fuel pump relay back in and also the other relay and just pop that cover back on. I've been doing a few other bits and pieces while I've been waiting for the oil to settle. So now, full send. Right, let's see what happens. There we go. She's alive! Yes! Come on. That's absolutely fantastic. I'm so glad that this thing is alive now. It's been quite the journey. It sounds really, really good, which is great. What I'm going to do is just top up the coolant and then just bleed that all through. I have started bleeding it off already. I did that before the vehicle was running, so it's just going to be a case now of bleeding the rest of it through, letting it all circulate and get nice and warm. So I'm going to go ahead and run this thing up. I'll probably do a few more bits and pieces, nothing particularly interesting, and then what we'll do is we'll finish up in here, have a clear up and stuff, and then what we can look at doing is seeing if it will drive and taking it for a spin. We've now had the car running in the workshop for some time. We've managed to bleed all the cooling system. We've rechecked all the levels. Now the car is all up to temperature. The last thing we've got left to do is give this thing a road test. Then we'll bring it back. I won't worry about filming that, but I'll check all of the underneath, make sure we've got no further oil leaks, anything like that. I'm going to retorque all of the wheels and make sure they're all okay, and then I will put the under trays all back on. So fingers crossed, we're going to take this thing for a spin and hope that we're all okay. We've got no engine lights or anything like that on the dashboard at the minute, so we've started off all right. Seems to pull all right, which is good. Drive straight as well, which is always nice. No odd noises so far. We don't seem to be getting any funny knocks or bangs from the suspension or the steering, any strange drivetrain noises or anything like that, so we all seem to be all right at the minute. No engine lights or warning lights, anything like that on the dashboard. Plenty of power. The gearbox is working well, shifting nicely between the gears. Kick down's all there. As I say, it does boost and go quite well. These do drive quite nice. So that's it for today's video, guys, and that is us all now finished on the Land Rover Discovery. I'm really pleased that we managed to get this one done, and it was a really, really long job, but I think it's been well worth it. Hopefully my friend and his family can now get out and enjoy this car, and I really hope that you've enjoyed watching this group of videos. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.